Is it possible to invest with no money at all? Well, when you know what you're doing and you take action and you persist, absolutely, you can acquire cash generating properties using very little of your own money. It's not easy, there's definitely work and effort, but it is possible. And I'm going to prove this to you. We have got one of our mastermind students who's just finished our 12-month mastermind program. She had no money. She had to borrow the money to come and do the training. But she listened carefully, she implemented, she took action, she persisted, and now she has over £40,000 annual passive income coming in from her properties from a standing start with zero money. If you'd like to know how to do that, watch this inspirational case study. First of all, build your belief that it's possible. And second, listen very carefully, find out exactly what Sadia did to achieve this amazing result. So we're going to go to the recording for my final workshop of Mastermind 36 to hear Sadia present her inspirational case study. Enjoy the recording.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Saida Bello, and I'm a proud member of Mastermind 36. Thank you. So in terms of my background, I am a housing solicitor, local government worker. I'm a single mom with a boy and a girl, so 15 to 17. And when I say local governments, you know, we don't get paid much, so I'm sure you understand my sort of background coming into this sort of environment. So it was a huge deal for me in October 2024, and actually even slightly before that, in August 2024, meeting Simon at the Property Magic Challenge. And I'm going to save till the end to tell you exactly, you know, the phrase that he said that actually made me decide to transform and change my life. So listen carefully, because on the last slide, I'll tell you exactly what Simon Zucci said that persuaded me to take this transformative journey. So my goal since August 2024, after attending Property Magic Challenge, was to develop multiple streams of income. So I wanted to get some income in property and also my mindset coaching business that I run with another former masterminder. I just wanted to develop those businesses. And why? More choices. Okay, so 2024 August, I went to Texas. And I'm sure a few of you have seen my cowboy hats, which I've donned at Property Magic Live 2 years in a row now. And that was a real life, you know, it was a real cowboy hat from Texas, and just reminds me of that freedom and that just sort of, you know, feeling that I had when I was in Texas. The other thing is the imminent university fees. So I've got a 15 and 17-year-old, so I'm thinking, how am I going to pay for that? So these things have been really motivating me to make a change in my life. So what did I decide to do then? As I said before, my primary objective is to increase my cash flow so I can pay for all my expenses that are imminent. And what I wanted to do is purchase rather than rent, you know, to do service accommodation. So some people do rent in order to do service accommodation. But I really was thinking long term, again, because of my kids. You know, they're settled in the Bristol area, they're going to school, they'll probably go to university in the surrounding areas. So I wanted to buy long term. And yeah, SA seemed perfect in terms of making and maximizing my income. As I said, my area is Filton, Bristol. Again, I decided to stay local because I've got kids of teenage years. I didn't want to really go outside or stray too far away from Filton. And then Filton is a really good area. Some of you might know Filton in Bristol. We've got lots of employers. So we've got Rolls-Royce, we've got Airbus, University of West England. Then we've also got Southmead Hospital. So lots of employers in the area. So those are my ideal sort of customers. So what did I decide to do? And I've put there on the top slide 40 viewings. So I started Mastermind in October last year. I didn't just do one viewing, I did 20 viewings. By December, I'd viewed 20 properties and probably viewed all the properties available in the Filton area. So I had a pipeline of deals, and you know, even now I still have 5 or 6 good leads. You know, PLO, I've got vendor finance that I'm still speaking to a landlord about. And sorry, PLO, purchase lease options, so no abbreviations. But yeah, I think it's really important to view as many as you can, put offers on them, but also have a pipeline of deals so you're not sort of too desperate for one deal. So in the end, after viewing so many properties all over Bristol, Filton, the deal I decided to go with was with my next door neighbor. So all that time, the deal was right next door. But it does have a nice development opportunity that I would like to take. The property was valued at $340,000. I ended up purchasing it for slightly under, so not a below market value deal per se, but because of the development opportunity and me knowing the area, I thought, okay, this is the one to go for. And also I knew that the property was really worth 350 to 360 because I knew the area. I've seen so many properties, but my neighbor, the property was a bit of a smelly property, so the valuation was a bit lower. So I knew that there's more to that property. Eventually, put in about 108,000 into the deal, including stamp duty and the legals. And what did I do with it? What did I do with it? I mean, as I said, service accommodation because I wanted to generate cash. What I wanted to do, what I did immediately was actually turn it from a 3-bed to a 4-bed. So within a month of getting the keys, I was actually able to put in a stud wall and make it into a 4-bed, do all the renovations, fix the roof slightly, do some painting, and got it all there. But how did I manage? A lot of people do say, how did you manage to do that in 4 weeks? Again, connections, networks, meeting so many people at the PIN. The builder who actually did the stud wall is somebody I know at the PIN meeting. So, you know, I'm in that situation where I can just give somebody a call to get things done. And yeah, I've been fortunate to get a direct booking. So the gross monthly income from that property is about 5,100. That's the annual. And my monthly mortgage is about 1,045. On the Mastermind, we calculate, in terms of bills, per room, 150 approximately. So I've put in their bills. And then I decided, again, something I learned on the Mastermind is not to try and do everything yourself. So I've appointed a really nice SA manager, a service accommodation manager, who's charging me 15% to look after that for me. So in total, 1,365 that I'll be paying for the expenses. But I still get a gross monthly cash flow of 2,690, and that's the annual cash flow there. So this is what I got, you know, with a month's work. And I have to say, a lot of people have said, this is beautiful furniture, and how did you do all this in a month? I actually partnered with somebody from Mastermind 35 who, you know, was selling some of her SA furnitures. So I was able to work with another masterminder to get the furniture quickly and did things quickly. So it's not only about working within your mastermind, but actually being able to work with other former masterminders. So that's my first case study. And second, I want to talk about my rent a room because, you know, as I said, I'm a single mom and, you know, working in local government. Just 5 years ago, I was on 18,000 per annum working part-time and trying to, you know, look after 2 kids. So when I'm talking about these figures, if you look at where I'm coming from, is, you know, it's just been such a massive, you know, shift in my thinking. So I've got a 3-bedroom residential property. So this is where I live with my kids. And one thing I noticed from the 40 viewings is, you know, a lot of properties on Filton Avenue. And I noticed that most of the landlords had converted 3 beds into 5 or 6 bedroom HMOs. So that got me thinking that what can I do in my house during my mastermind journey to increase my income? So I thought, again, stud wall conversion. I contacted one of the builders I know from the PIN. He came over, had a look at it. Within 3-4 days, I had a stud wall conversion. And I'd seen all these adverts on Facebook about English as a foreign language students that, you know, needed accommodation, contacted them, and voila, I immediately got 2 students. I didn't have to furnish because the organization provides like a bunk bed, so there's 2 students, they can keep each other company. So I didn't have to do much. So now I have additional income of $1,300 a month, and I thought, ooh, this is really good. And monthly expenses, for some reason, I mean, I spent about £300 for food, etc., but it's the same as what I was spending for me and the kids. So probably because of economies of scale, it's actually not costing me that much. But in all, it's cash flowing at $1,000 a month. And look at my return on investment, about 600%. So the outlay that I put down was paid within the first 2 months, and it's actually fun having the EFL students. My kids are about the same age, so, you know, more conversations. They're meeting people from Spain, France, you know, students coming 2-3 weeks. So in a way, it's a bit like having a mini essay. So that's been really good. So this is just the floor plan for my rent a room, and you can see in red where I've actually done the partition. But again, as I said, it wasn't me, inventing anything. Just looking at the houses on Filton Avenue, I saw that a lot of people had done that. I spoke to the builder, we looked at the floor plan, and within 3-4 days, he'd done that for me. When I go and talk about, return on investment on my final slide, it's really interesting that the builder, because I've built such a good relationship at the PIN meeting, he only just billed me yesterday. So I've had it for 5 months. I didn't actually pay for that stud wall because he knows me. He knew I wasn't going anywhere. And for 5 months, he's been busy. So he only sent me his invoice on Friday, and I paid it 5 months later. So the third case study is really about added value, because I decided to go with my neighbor's property because there was a piece of land, plot of land there. I knew I could put in a 2-bed maisonette. So I've been speaking to builders, architects over the last sort of 9 months about it. And, the drawings are going to be ready next week. I've had a planning consultant. I got the reports and I've got the green lights to do that. Been in touch with South Gloucestershire Council and ready to put in that planning application. So the purchase price for this property is, of course, 0. So that was the added value of buying the corner plot. It's going to cost around 165,000 to build. It's only going to take about 4 months, so 16 weeks. And already, because I've spoken to so many builders, one of the builders is even willing to JV with me. So I'm like, oh, I've got somebody who's interested. I've also spoken to Crowd Property. They're really, very helpful. They look at your deal and your financials. So that's been really good to talk to them, because I know that I've got that opportunity to fund with them. And then I'm also looking for private investors who might be interested in learning about the whole process. Estimated GDV is about 300,000. And from speaking to Crowd Property and also taught on Mastermind 36 is the title splitting option. So what I'm likely to do is to separate the title so that I can then refinance the 2-bedroom maisonette. And I'm going to use it as service accommodation because it really works in Filton. We're actually having a music arena built in Filton, so it's ideal to have service accommodation. So this is a quick summary of my deals. Gone through the figure for the first one already. I've got 95,000 equity from the purchase itself, and now using it for SA, so I'm making about 29% in terms of return on investment. On the second one, the renter room, as I said, that's about 600%, return on investment because the layout was very low and I didn't even pay for 5 months. So how's that for building relationships? And then finally, the corner plot, this is going to be me for the next 12 months trying to get this off the ground with the hope of Crowd Property or probably private investors. But this is, a good one as well. So I'll be able to make a decent 21,600 a year from that. However, I'll be able to pull it out to the cash that I used to build it. And that's because on 75% loan to value on the gross development value of 300,000, I would actually be able to repay all my costs for building and probably have about 75,000 equity in the property and then 60,000 profit. So that means in terms of return of investment, that's infinite return. So woohoo, we love that on the Mastermind. So I've made decent income this year, and then next year once I do the development, that income's only going to go up. So what's next? Secure the planning permission, own 3 service accommodation. Super excited about the development, learning something new outside of my comfort zone. And, I'm sure you all agree, moving from social housing solicitor 5 years ago, earning 18,000 to talking these big numbers is all new for me. And now talking about doing a property development. I don't intend to be a builder, but, I'm going to be, managing the project over the next year. It's actually a quantum leap for me. So 5 top tips. Very quickly, don't let the lack of money stop you. Because 12 months ago when I did the Property Magic Challenge with Simon, I actually didn't have the money to do the Mastermind Accelerator. I borrowed the money to do that. When it came to time for putting my deposit for the Mastermind a year long, I borrowed the money to do that as well, but it has paid off. Number 2, get a mentor and a coach. I mean, obviously, Simon Zucchi is one of the best mentors out there. We've had Andy, we've got Yvonne, who's mentored us for the last 12 months. And I really believe in accountability and the support that I've got, not just from them, but also from my coach who I see every fortnight. I've also had a buddy. We've got a buddy system. I've had 14 buddies that I've shared my problems with, because remember, we will make mistakes and there will be some failures. There are some leads that I pursued that did not work out. But, with the support of the buddies, I was able to, keep going forward rather than just, giving up. The one thing I would say as well, which means a lot to me, around June this year, unfortunately, my father suffered a stroke. So that was a really difficult time. But if it wasn't for my buddies who kept saying, go, keep going, I wouldn't still be here. But I had to stay focused on what I was doing. But I managed to do that because I had people supporting me. Networking, I love to network. Most of you know that. I've gone to all my PIN meetings. I haven't missed any since I started. I've met landlords, builders who trust me enough to, not invoice me straight away. I've met people. But I would say build genuine and authentic relationships, because these people are your future JV partners, So I go there to meet people and really develop those relationships. And finally, creative finance, learn how to raise the finance. When I started the course, I didn't have the money, as I said, but since then, I've actually, within 2 months of the course, actually raised 100,000, because Simon did a 100,000 challenge to encourage us to raise finance within 2 months. I did that by the end of January, but I continued. So I've still been raising money anyway, because I can't stop. So I'm going to finish on this note, and this is what I said Simon said when I went to the Property Magic Challenge in August that really inspired me to go on this journey. He said, it's not the lack of resources that is stopping you, it is the lack of resourcefulness. So thank you, Simon, for a fantastic year. Thank you, everyone.
So I do hope you watched that and enjoyed it, took plenty of notes. Just shows you when you set your mind and focus, you can achieve anything you want to, as long as you have the right knowledge, the right mindset, and the right support group around you. If you'd like to talk to one of my team about how you can have similar success, I'd like to encourage you to book a strategy setting session with one of my team. It's totally complimentary. We used to charge for these £500, but if you really are serious about achieving great things in your property investing, click on the link below in the description and book your call. Make sure you turn up. We're only going to give you one shot at this, but they'll show you exactly how you can replicate incredible life-changing results like Sadia. So book your strategy call right now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to make sure you're notified anytime a new video comes out. And I encourage you as ever to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.